don't think we give Judd Apatow enough credit. What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I'm tackling Kind of Pregnant. This is Amy Schumer's new film. It's a Netflix original. It just dropped February, in time to get you, that romantic feeling, in time for Valentine's Day, the big V-Day coming up. It's it's a Happy Madison production, and it features the Happy Madison director who gave us such classics as The Wrong Missy and The Outlaws. So we're good. Amy Schumer's here with Will Forte, Damon Wayans Jr., I don't know, some downstream talent that I kind of vaguely remember / recognize. Most of Adam Sandler's family's in here. Not Adam, though. I don't know what to tell you. This movie is occasionally funny, and it deserves that. It deserves that sort of thing. But man, this feels like a Netflix movie. This feels like a movie that people just gave up. And I want to like this movie so bad, and there were scenes in it that were working for me, but there are other things that just don't make any sense at all. Like, this movie is just functionally, like, powered by people who are stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just hoping that the dumbest audiences watch this movie and don't ask any questions. Or, like, everybody just gets drunk right before they watch this. Like, that's Amy Schumer's brand. It's just a whole bunch of, like, drunk people watching this movie. She's so much better than this. I'm so sad that Hulu canceled her series Life and Beth. And the reason why I said we undervalue Judd Apatow is because I feel like Amy hasn't had a director that's pushed her in the right direction since Trainwreck. Like, her film work has been just kind of like, I mean, that's fine. I think I liked I'm So Pretty a little bit more than other people. I probably like this a little bit more than other people too. She can be funny, she has moments. And this movie has like a point and a purpose and a heart in there. But damn, there are some things here that just suck. We see, Amy Schumer is, she's a teacher. She has a boyfriend played by Damon Wayans Jr., and everything's going great. Her best friend is pregnant, which she finds out not quite at the beginning of the film, but... So this is almost like Babes, basically. Basically, just like a few months later, Adam Sandler made another Babes. And I was thinking it the whole time. I was like, this Babes is better. Babes is better. Oh, God. And it's she gets dumped, and then I don't know, she feels like her best friend is like in a different world because she's pregnant and she's got like all that like new mom love or whatever that people are like, oh my God, you're getting pregnant. Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, you're glow. Oh my God, I want that. So she decides at pretty early on in the movie to start faking being pregnant. So she's wearing this like pregnancy belly that she works in a school. I think they give this to kids to like warn them of the dangers of being pregnant, the weight of. So she wears a fake pregnant belly. And goes out in the world and convinces people she's pregnant. And she meets she goes to a yoga class where we have fart jokes, because nothing says adult humor like fart jokes. And she meets a new friend, and who knows nothing about her. They've never met before. And they develop this sort of new bond and relationship, and kind of go forth from there. She's the new friend has, a husband. She already has a kid. And this is how she meets Will Forte, who becomes like the new love interest for her. And he's fine, but wow, talk about not being given any range to be Will Forte. Talk about being used for your name in this movie. He is not given the opportunity to do any of his Will Forte stuff. I felt like this could have been any guy in the world, and it happens to be Will Forte. Like, there's nothing here that screams Will Forte offered a little bit of himself to this movie. Like the things that you've seen him do before. He's playing this so neutrally that he could have been replaced halfway through the movie by a different actor, and I don't think we would have noticed. Ashton Kutcher could have shown up and been like, same character, right? It's me. I'm here. I don't, and I don't mean it's dramatic either, because he was really good last year in Bodkin, which was arguably like him trying to stretch himself dramatically. This is still a comedy. His character is just so blandly written as being like the potential new boyfriend that even when he has an opportunity to make a joke or to crack a joke or to be silly or to be goofy, he's got to play it. He's got to play the romantic lead here in a way that just seems to suck the fun out of him. It's not my favorite Will Forte, and it's such weird direction. It's like, why is he not allowed to be himself? Why can't he be as quirky as everyone else? Why is he the least quirky person in this movie? Um, so I don't know. Amy Schumer goes through like a series of jokes that work and don't work. Some of them haven't make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Some of them you just go, what fucking school does she work at? She's got her guidance counselor friend, was it Jillian Bell that played that? Walks around vaping the whole time. She's just like openly vaping in school. And she's of course says like these hilariously inappropriate things all the time, even to students. She's like, she tells a student that they smell like cocaine, and then later on she's like, Jimmy, come in. The test results are back, and it's conclusive. You're stupid. And I'm like, who would do that? Like, who is this movie made for? I'm sorry, but like Amy Schumer is not somebody who has Gen Alpha appeal. She appeals above that. You're appealing to adults. I'm sorry, but this is not, if you think that you were making this movie for like 18 to 24-year-olds, that's not her brand. She's not appealing to those people anymore. She's appealing above that. And those kinds of people start requiring their dramas to be, their comedies to be a little bit more substantial, like a little smarter, which is why Babes worked, is because Pamela Adlon understood how to make vulgar comedy funny, but also make it feel like something adults could watch, that was made for adults and not for like teenagers. It feels like sometimes they're stretching for the kind of jokes that teens would laugh at, but this is not the kind of movie that teens are going to watch. Like, it's like they're stuck in that, well, the only people who watch Happy Madison films are teenagers. I don't know that that's true anymore. Sandler's brand is, I mean, he's in his 50s, man. Like, his brand is shifted. He should start, the Happy Madison needs to shift up, shoot higher, aim higher. There are times in this movie where I was like trying to like use logical thought. Amy Schumer, she gets dumped by Damon Wayans, which sort of like, I already mentioned that it's the catalyst for like everything in this movie. So of course, he still like pops in and out of the movie, but and she goes into her class, and we see her once before, and she's like perky and a great teacher or whatever. She's like, seems to love her job. And she goes in and she's giving this like, I mean, she might as well just have like pulled out a cigarette and just started smoking in the middle of the class and been like, fuck the world. Ah. Because she's like, oh, and she starts like drawing like, what's a threesome? And by the way, there's a kid in the room who kids are talking about Romeo and Juliet, and she's like trying to get an answer out of the kid, and she's like, nah, that's not what it's about. You you said it. What was it? Romeo just wants a piece. And he's like, yeah, Romeo just wants a piece. That's when he wants a. And she goes in this huge tirade, and then she says the word threesome because that's comes out of something her boyfriend mentioned, and ex-boyfriend at this point. And then the girl goes, "What's a threesome?" And I was like, "You have a dude in your class who's advanced enough that he uses wants to get a piece. What does he think he means? You know, I are you the sheltered child of the class? Because you can't have one person who's talking about essentially tapping that ass, you know." And then the other girl's like, "I don't understand what a threesome is." Like, listen, when kids figure it out, they kind of all figure it out at about the same time. And the word gets around pretty quickly about sex. Uh, and there wouldn't be a girl sitting there going, "What's a threesome?" while the other kid's going, he just wants peace. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And then that scene ends with her setting some books on fire and them evacuating the school, which you would think would be her final day at that school. But you would be wrong. She goes back to work at that school because nothing makes any sense in this movie. There are no consequences. Nothing ever matters. It just, she just gets to go back. People are forgiven for whatever. They get to say whatever they want. They get to do whatever they want. As long as it's funny, as long as it'll make somebody laugh, as long as there's a gag behind it, as long as you can, I mean, she does some of the weirdest and dumbest shit here for a movie where I'm just like, Amy Schumer is so much better than this. At one point, she doesn't have a pregnancy belly. She stuffs a fucking turkey up there, like a full on like roasted turkey. I'm like, that would look so lumpy and weird and misshapen. There's no way that a grown adult was like, that'll work. They were like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if she stuck? This movie was full of a whole bunch of people who have no idea what humor is, sitting around a room going, wouldn't this be funny if? And then nobody said no. And that's how this movie came to be. I wish this was just written and directed by Amy Schumer. Like, it should have her own voice. She should have her own thing coming through. Or if you can't do that, find her somebody who she's worked with before and worked with well. That's why I said the Judd Apatow thing. Trainwreck is a good movie. It's adult. It feels adult. It feels like it's made for adults. It feels like it embraces Amy Schumer's brand. It has a heart. It has a soul. It has a purpose. It has consequences. It has actors who are allowed to be funny. It has people. It has everything in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bill Hader's performance in Trainwreck is objectively funnier than Will Forte's in this movie. So it's just, I'm not the kind of person who comes on here and just says every Netflix movie of the week is terrible, every Adam Sandler movie is terrible, every Happy Madison movie is terrible. I like Adam Sandler. I loved Leo, that little animated thing that he made in 2023. I love that movie. I thought that was charming as hell. And every once in a while, yeah, something works with me. He's made a couple Netflix movies that weren't too bad. That I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of funny. This director of the movies that I know he's directed, The Wrong Missy was probably the best one. I wouldn't say it's great, but I didn't hate myself after watching it. But I really didn't like The Outlaws. I thought that movie was a misfire. And now he's back with a vengeance with Kind of Pregnant. And man, talk about not understanding Amy Schumer as a brand or as a person or as a comedian or anything. It just, this movie feels like a really sad attempt to follow up Babes with a like-minded movie that just doesn't work on any level. And I wanted it to. Is it funny occasionally? Absolutely. There's too many talented people here to not make you laugh at least a few times. When you throw this many jokes at a wall, some of them are going to stick. You're going to laugh a couple times. But in general, I just kind of spent the whole movie going, oh, this could be better. Oh, this could be better. And yeah, Amy Schumer sometimes has like the perfect line delivery, but it's hard for me to not root for her to be in better things because I saw Life and Beth and I saw what she's capable of. When somebody understands who she is as a performer and matches her voice, it can be really good. If you don't understand her voice and you're just putting her in like a mass marketed comedy that could have literally been given to anybody, there's something about her performance here that's written for her that couldn't have been given to even a non-comedian. Just because she popped in my mind right away. Anna Kendrick could have done this. You know what I'm saying? She's done enough comedy that she could have done this role and pulled it off the exact same way as Amy Schumer. I don't think the movie would have changed at all. And that's a problem because Amy Schumer has spent a life curating her own stand-up comedy and her own brand and her own style of humor, but none of that comes here. It's all missing. And it's all been sort of molded into this weird amalgamation of we think teenage kids will like this, but are they even going to watch it? The audio description is actually pretty good. I'm going to be honest. I was kind of surprised. It's got a lot of really good description in it as to what people look like. It's got ethnic description because the cast is diverse, hairstyles, everything. You'll get actually fairly decent for a comedy. You get fairly decent depth of description in here. It tries to always make sure that you understand any sort of visual sight gag that's coming up. It's a very strong track. I was really disappointed that the writer wasn't credited because International Digital Center usually always gets their writers credited. It's just the narrator at the end, which is sort of disappointing. But it's a strong audio description track. It's just the movie is, it could be so much better. It could have been so much better. And I just feel bad for Amy on this because she deserves to be in movies where somebody really understands her as a comedian and her voice, or she just needs to be given the latitude to do her own thing. And somebody just say, why don't you write and direct your own thing? And then at least that way she's living and dying by the sword instead of that guy who directs Happy Madison movies, you know? So, I know I'm going to see worse movies this year. And I know this is just sort of like slightly above average, maybe. The cast kind of makes some of the things work. But a lot of the humor just punches below the belt, you know? It's not. But I'm going to give it a C+. It's probably being a little bit generous. I would probably lean, I might give this a fresh rating on the tomato meter, but it would be like right at that 60. You know what I'm saying? It would be like right there. Yeah, I've seen movies that haven't made me laugh at all. And I've had to sit through comedies that are just like nothing, never. And at least I did get a couple laughs in. At least there were a couple things that made me laugh that were funny. A couple of scenes, a couple set pieces, a couple gags here and there that kind of kept me interested in the film. Some of the jokes were kind of obvious when they were coming, but still it made me laugh. And it just is so inconsistent. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.